Ipswich. I'm Lee Tyers, I'm a product trainer for Volvo, and we're now going to tell you the story of Volvo.
Volvo is a unique car company. Everything starts with people. Since 1927, our heritage, our Swedish culture, and our focus on humanity have all helped shape our philosophy. To help people to make their lives easier and more enjoyable, while also protecting them from harm. Our founders stated, cars are driven by people. The guiding principle behind everything we make at Volvo, therefore is and must remain safety. This emphasis on safety, people and quality has been a feature of our cars ever since. As has a passion for pioneering automotive and environmental innovation and distinctive Swedish design. This rich heritage continues to inform what Volvo does today and shapes its future. Volvo cars might never have happened if it had not been for a chance meeting between two friends in a Stockholm restaurant on an August evening in 1924. Two friends who shared a passion for cars and a vision of starting a Swedish car company. After that meeting, our founders, Assar Gabrielsson, a much-traveled economist and sales specialist, and Gustav Larsson, a talented engineer with a background in engine design, began working on plans to make the finest Swedish car possible. At the time, Gabrielsson was also working for the ball bearing manufacturer SKF, who owned the brand name Volvo. Fittingly, for a maker of steel ball bearings, the name means I roll in Latin. The initial design concepts emerged from Gustav Larsson's apartment in central Stockholm in mid-1925, and in 1926, testing began on the first 10 prototypes, personally funded by Assar Gabrielsson. On the 14th of April 1927, the first Volvo production car, the 2-liter OB4, nicknamed Jacob, rolled out of the factory in Hisingen, Gothenburg, bearing the iconic Iron Mark logo. The company we now know as Volvo was born.
Back in 1927, three factors contributed to Volvo's early success: Sweden's growing industrial capabilities, the availability of premium quality local steel, and a genuine need for strong, high-quality cars, as imported vehicles tended not to survive long on rugged, weather-worn Swedish roads. Since then, Sweden's distinctive culture, its respect for nature, and focus on social well-being have all continued to contribute to the evolution of Volvo as a unique human-focused company. Nowhere else in the world could have produced such a company. Volvo has always had a uniquely Swedish approach to car design, setting out to satisfy human needs and in the process driving desire. This approach can be traced from our earliest luxury cars to the PV444. Launched in 1944, this family sports saloon was to be Volvo's first really big success and our first major breakthrough into the United States. From the beautiful Amazon of the 50s and 60s to the iconic P1800 and onto today's state-of-the-art XC90 and concept designs for the future, our aim has always been to design premium cars that make life that bit better.
Volvo has also constantly developed technical innovations that have made driving not only more enjoyable, but also safer. There can be few people on the planet who have saved as many lives as Volvo engineer Nils Bolin. His revolutionary 3-point safety belt design made its debut in the Volvo PV544 of 1959. And since then, it's estimated that it saved over 1 million lives because Volvo cars waived its patent rights so that everybody could benefit, whatever car they drive. In 1964, Volvo tested the world's first rear-facing child seat prototype in a PV544, the first of many child safety innovations. And in 1976, Volvo launched the world's first child booster cushion, an invention now used across the world that has saved countless young lives. Also in 1976, Volvo gave the world the Lambda sound. this little oxygen sensing probe reduces harmful exhaust emissions by 90%. The California Air Resources Board called it the most significant breakthrough ever made in the control of vehicle exhaust emissions. Once again, Volvo gave it to the world, and today, virtually every petrol engine car in the world has one.
Volvo's international reputation for environmental standards and advanced safety was confirmed in 1976 when the US government used the Volvo 240 as the benchmark to set safety standards for all new cars, and in 1978 when it was named the USA's cleanest car. Since then, Volvo has strived to lessen its impact on the environment through innovation in every part of the life cycle of our cars. For instance now, all the electricity in Volvo's Swedish factories comes from hydroelectric power. And in line with our vision of building the safest, most energy-efficient cars in the world, Geely, our Chinese owner, are committed to the development of a new generation of sustainable technologies.
Volvo's mission is to make people's lives better and less complicated. Our goal is that by the year 2020, no one shall be killed or seriously injured in a new Volvo. We're working to achieve this by making our cars smarter than ever. Now, IntelliSafe technology can detect pedestrians even in the dark, plus cyclists, animals, and objects around the car, preventing accidents before they happen. And our Drive Me autonomous driving program means that soon, Volvos will be able to look after some of the less exciting aspects of driving, such as stop-and-go traffic, allowing drivers more time to enjoy life. Of course, our self-driving cars will be safer, save fuel, and reduce emissions, helping to improve everyone's quality of life. We think our founders would have approved.
Okay, I saw some of your faces then when you saw the autonomous driving. It's something that I'm sure will come, and we will get used to it, I'm sure. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to invite my first guest, Grant Walker, who is a leadership and development consultant.
He's actually given me a microphone and the Yorkshireman, and I think the mouth's probably large enough. I maybe don't need that. My job is I work for a company called First Hamley Eastern, and we are the parent company of the Donnells Group. And it was really interesting when Benjamin asked me to come here and do a talk. I said, what do we want to talk about? He said, well, it's leadership. He said, let's just talk about leadership. He said there were some other people there as well. He didn't tell me there'd be gold medalists and professional footballers, but it is good to see I've got some fellow athletes to work with. And also being Yorkshireman, it's very good to see that the gospel is spreading. Because I see for a few years now, you have had Yorkshireman in charge of your football team down here. So there we go, God bless me, bless him. So leadership is it's a long subject, a big subject, and I certainly don't want to bore you with all that tonight. If you go into a bookshop, every week there are books and books and books and books on leadership from Americans and from all different areas of life and different areas of business. A lot of it is very goal-based. I'm sure our athletes here will talk to you about setting life goals and setting sports goals and all that sort of thing. But what I wanted to really think about tonight was actually leadership's pretty ordinary. And there are a lot of things and characteristics in leadership that set people in some ways apart. I think humbleness is one, and it's not hard to be humble when you're a Yorkshireman. Well, you've won the lottery of life for a start off, but it's not hard to be humble because there is always a quip around the corner. And Benjamin sent the publicity out for this, and unfortunately my brother saw the publicity, and in his brusque Yorkshire fashion he said to me, I see you're down as an expert. I said, oh yeah. He said, you know what expert is, don't you? Our kid. I said, what's that? He said, X is the unknown quantity and spurts a drip under pressure. You can't get your feet off the ground up in Yorkshire. But really, leadership's about managing interactions with people. That's, in essence, what it's about, the human side. It was very interesting to see the video. I've spent many hours, days, weeks, months in Gothenburg and in Sweden. And it's really interesting to see that Volvo starts with people. The businesses start with people. People are everything. We have got accountants, some of them are people, that's fine. We've got accountants who put all the money in the boxes and do that, but it's all produced by people. And what I wanted to talk about is a very personal journey for me. It's people who have inspired me over the course of my life. Most of them are just ordinary people, but it's people who I've looked up to and respected. We've called to talk about what I've learned from the X Factor. I don't mean that Cheryl, Vicini, Mercedes, or whatever they call her, and that bloke with the big trousers. I don't mean that at all, because there's no lot of humble there. I mean just a lot of ordinary people, and looking around at the everyday type of X Factor. I think I've got 9 people up here, and each one of them I've taken things from in my personal life, and I've tried to pass on to other people. Each one has influenced me in different ways, and in my opinion, each one of them has the X Factor, whatever that may be, and that is for you to decide, because it's a very, very personal thing. Some of them are oldish people, some of them are quite old, some of them are very young. Actually, how old are you? 10. 10? Oh, you must have had an easy paper around. 10 years old. One of the people on here is younger than you. But they still have the X Factor, so you've got the X Factor as well, if you want it. Okay, so the first person. This is a lady called Mary Elizabeth Walker. My grandmother, known to everybody as Molly. She was quite a gruff old bird, as they would call her nowadays, and she used to keep me straight all the time. And my mother used to complain quite often about every time I had a problem, every time I had an issue with something, I went to my grandmother and not to my parents. And my mother asked me one time, why do you go to your gran? The thing was with my gran, and that's one thing that I've tried to learn from her, she was always very, very calm. It didn't matter what I'd done wrong. It didn't matter if I'd set fire to something, I never did that. It didn't matter if I'd run somebody over with my cart, I never did that either. Those sort of things. She was always very calm. And if we had a little accident with something and we grazed our knees, she was always very quick with the iodine as well. I don't know whether you could do that now. But she taught me all sorts of things. She overheard a conversation one day, and it was between myself and a couple of my friends. And one of my friends was, I would have been about 13 or 14, one of my friends was asking me if I would do something for him. And I said, yeah, that's no problem, because that'll be one in the bag for me, and you'll have to do something for me in the end. And we went away, happy enough. And she collared me, like that, as she often used to do. Lad, that's what she called me. Lad, the thing is, I heard that conversation, and you associated doing something for somebody with somebody doing something back. Don't do that, lad. Don't think like that. If you want to do something for somebody, do it because you want to. Don't do it because you expect something in return. And that has always stuck with me all my life. So that's why, in one way, she had, I think, the X Factor. That was her little bit of it. But also, as we go through our home life and our working life with these sort of things, people say, why aren't they doing this? I hear it in business all the time. Why aren't they doing this? We asked them to do this. It's only common sense. But that's the thing that my grandmother used to say. There's one thing about common sense, lad. it's not so common. And she's right. So why don't we just take a little bit of time to explain things to people and ensure that they understand? Because actually it's better for us and it's really, really much better for them. And then we stop a lot of conflictual things. So that's Molly, Mary Elizabeth Walker, my grandmother, my first X Factor victim, bless her. Second. This is Alison Walker. This is my wife. She's taught me all sorts of things. One of them is, I'm sure there's lots of ladies present tonight, one of them that shoes is good. Shoes is good. Sometimes I think I married Imelda Marcos. And she's even got a job now in a shoe shop. And she very rarely gets paid. She takes shoes home. But that's life. That's how it is. What did she teach me? She taught me a lot about the work-life balance and actually about understanding other people's situations. I travelled an awful lot over my career, abroad an awful lot with various companies. I often used to spend a couple of hundred days a year outside the country. And I used to come back and I used to do a lot of the sort of executive coaching and all that. So you got all the good gigs, you know what I mean? 10 days in the Stellenbosch with a wine tasting and all that sort of stuff. And I used to come back and, yeah, blah, 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 I've had a safari doing this and all that good trip, I'm really tired. What has she been doing all the time? Looking after the kids, cooking, cleaning. And rightly so, sometimes we don't see these things with our blinkers, rightly so, she decided enough was enough. We'd had some new windows and some new doors put in the house. And these doors were hardwood doors and were quite expensive. And I came home, I can remember it as clear as day, I came back from Moscow, and I walked up the drive, and there's this new door with a 6-inch nail sticking out of it. I was paid for them, and I'm a Yorkshireman, and we're like the Scots with a generously removed. So I walked in, and I said, what's all this? You've seen it, have you? I said, yeah, we have vandals. She said, no. She said, that, my dear husband, is your workbook. When you come home, leave your work at the door and have a bit of sympathy for all the things that I've been doing all the time. You've been swanning about with people, making small talk, drinking wine and having good food. I have never, ever forgot that. Because when I go home now, as I'm within 5, 6, 7 miles of home, and I'm going back home to Yorkshire tonight, I have this memory of this 6-inch nail, and it always reminds me that actually other people do things too, and their lives are really, really interesting. And if you ask them questions and listen, you know what? You don't have to learn a lot. So, my wife, I think, she has the X Factor and lots of shit. But there we go. Third, big influence on my life, not the guy on the right, who was a fellow sailor, I guess, but the guy with the glasses, who is, I believe I'm correct in saying 90 next week. His name's Eric Walkington. He was a teacher at my school, local comprehensive school. Who's the guy on the right? Any ideas? Columbus, of course. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That's what Eric Walkington taught me. But it's also about commitment. What I took from Columbus. In 1492, most people thought the world was flat. So he's going to go and prove it's round. How are you going to get a crew then? You come with me, and we're going to say, because the world's round, not flat like what he says, but we'll fall off the side. So he ended up with a crew of drunkards and ne'er-do-wells and all sorts of things. The power at the time was the monarchy and the church, and he defied both. His commitment was absolute. His commitment was 100%, once you made the decision. And that's what I've taken with that. There is no 50%. If you're making decisions in life, and you're making decisions in business, there is no 50%. make your mind up. You've two main choices, haven't you? Change it or leave it. And if you're going to do either, do it with 100%. If you do it with 100%, you will then stop blaming other people if it goes wrong. And if you do enough things in life, they'll go wrong. It's how we treat those mistakes is really important for allowing people to grow. So make sure that people are helped making decisions. Kids for GCSEs and all these sort of things. Everybody, myself included, we all need help from time to time. And it's good to get help from people. But once you've made a decision, go for it. Eric Walkington taught me that, and rugby. But rugby league wasn't where I come from. Another gentleman, Brian Charlton. Brian Charlton was my first CEO. And he was an accountant, so he lived in a cupboard, I think accountants do, and we lock him in every now and go and let him out when it's accountant's time. But he's the first person. I'd just been made into a service manager, so I started as an apprentice on the workshop floor. And Brian had been brought in to help the business was struggling. And he came into my office for a cup of coffee one morning, and he said to me, so, young man, it's a long time since anybody's called me that. So, young man, he said, what do you want to do with your life when you grow up? And maybe as a young guy, I was a bit arrogant. Then I said, do you know what? I quite like your job. Do you know what he said? He said, it astonished me. He said, okay. So if you can do that, we need a development plan for you. We need a path for you to work. So he made sure I had a path to work. And in my career, in my life, he's been one of the big people that got me thinking about, enjoying myself and actually working with some confidence, because the belief and the support that he gave me was huge. And he stuck by that all the way. That photograph was taken at a reunion last November. So he's still going strong, he still runs a business, and I still remind him every time that, this is what he did. He supported me, he believed in me. And I hope these guys will probably tell you different, but I try and support these guys. And I have a lot of belief in the people within this business, because the people are our business. Brian Charlton. Interesting one. This is a guy I met in Dubai. This is a very business-orientated one, I guess. Joe Hood is Lebanese. Joe Hood runs a £280 million business in Dubai, and I had the pleasure of going and doing some mentoring with him. And he said to me, we're talking about the business, and I've got this to do, and I've got this to do, and I've got this to do. I said, so I'll tell you what, Joe, what is your job? And he looked at me, he's got these blue, steely eyes, and he looked at me with that Lebanese stare, and he said, Graham, my job is very, very simple. I just need to work to make myself redundant. Do I thought, what a fantastic way of looking at things. And what he means is that I want to develop people below me. I want to develop people to take my job. And if I develop people in the right way and give them the competence, the support and the confidence, then they'll be able to do my job. And actually, it doesn't matter whether I'm here or not. I can go away and have a glass of wine, or I can go away and do all sorts of things. And the business, when I'm not here, will look after itself. He still writes to me, he still gives me phone calls, and he actually reminded me the other day about that quote. He said, have you ever mentioned it? Because it always stuck in my mind about working to make yourself redundant. And yeah, I have. And I said to him on a message the other night saying, I'm going to use your quote again. And he asked for copyright because he's Lebanese. This is a gentleman called Nicholas. Nicholas Sissons is my stepson. Nicholas, that course was taken quite a few years ago, he's 43 years old now. And Nicholas, that's just short of his 24th birthday. On his 24th birthday, or around that day, he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And that's a tough thing. And we tried to support, and we tried to help him, we tried to do all these sort of things. But at the end of the day, it's a horrible disease. But I've put up there persistence in adversity, because for me, he personifies persistence in adversity. He's struggling with things now, but he still does a 9-hour day, manual labour on a farm, working as a stockman. And if anybody thinks we sometimes get above ourselves and we get into different areas, see what I've seen. I've watched him on YouTube, because he has to be at work at 7 o'clock. He lives 40 minutes from where he works, but he has to get up at least an hour before that. And to see him sat on the end of the bed and actually moving his legs like this to get them going, and taking 20 minutes to do that, and then going out and doing a physical job in all weathers to support his family, my goodness, that is a very moving and a very humbling experience. And sometimes we think, oh, I can't do this today, I've got a bit of a sniffle, or I've got a bit of this, or I've got a bit of that. There's often reasons why we can't do things, or we don't want to do things. There's a guy that inspires me to get up every day and to go out and just try and help people do their jobs. So he's a big inspiration to me, and he's certainly got the X factor. And actually, he does wear them quite high trousers, so there's a bit in common with Simon Cowell. You might know this guy. You ever played for him, you guys? You played against him? Maybe humble's not the right word. But I like the simple things. I like to try and make points very simply. And over the years, I've always been a huge fan of the Leeds United supporter, 44 days and all that. A huge fan of Brian Clough. And I like his methods, I like his brashness in some ways, but his methods were really interesting. And just one story about doing things simply, I want to tell you tonight, it was 1979, they won the first cup, European Cup. So they had to win the league then, you didn't have to finish 6th, 7th or 10th or whatever it is nowadays. And they won the European Cup, unheard of for a small provincial town. And they went on to win it next year. And they played, I think they played their rivals Liverpool. Was it the quarterfinals? Am I correct in saying that? I think it was the quarterfinals. And the first leg was at Anfield. And they went to Anfield and they drew 0-0. Pretty good result, because Liverpool were a pretty good side. They had a bit of a rest, and Cluffy called them in on the Sunday. Now, it was never heard of them, was it? You called into training on a Sunday. And he got them all changed, they were all grumpy about it. They all went out with a bag of balls, and they got into the penalty area. And he said, and I look, the impression's terrible. Robertson, John Robertson, who was a very skillful winger at the time. Robertson, he said, what I want you to do is get a ball and I want you to dribble it round the corner flag and back. What? Just round the corner flag, boss, and back? Yep, that's what I want you to do. So off he went. All the rest got balls, not you lot, you had a patch skill for him. So off he went. And he said, now we want you to do the same, but without the ball. What, he says, just run round the flag and come back. Yeah, just do that. So I did it. And he came back, took him 30 seconds. And he came back, and Cluffy said, now, tell this lot which was easiest. And he said, well, it's obvious, boss, without the ball. He said, well, pass the thing next week. And he sent him all home again. A simple, simple lesson in life. Don't complicate things. Illustrate your point as simply as you can. Kids love it. My kids love that. But Brian Clough, great man. He'll be up there, moaning at us. Oh, maths teachers. 9 times table. You all know your 9 times table? Do you know your 9 times table? Good. Can you tell me anything about that? 9 times table. Started walking again. And he said, and we were all laughing and sniggering. And we played rugby, Eric taught us rugby as well. And we did this, and we were all sniggering. What are you laughing at? He said, cleverest one, you know, 3 9s aren't 28, they're 27. Yes. Well, get that out of your head. What do you mean get it out of your head? And he said, don't go around spending your life looking for things wrong. 95% of the stuff that we do is right. So why focus just on the things that we get wrong? Because that way you set up negative energy and we waste our time just focusing on the mistakes that we make. And actually, if we use those mistakes as learning opportunities, everybody gets so much better. Does that make sense to you? But we do, that's what we do, isn't it? We look for things wrong all the time. It's easy for the managers in this place to walk around looking for things wrong, isn't it? But actually, there's an awful lot goes right as well. And we should praise that, and we should make sure that we celebrate that when things go right. The guy, Benjamin, and the guys who've organised this tonight, absolute fantastic job, guys. Well done. But focus on the good, not necessarily the bad. A very intelligent man, George W. Bush, and Hurricane Katrina. Put this up there. I lost a friend in Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. He was drowned. And can you remember how long it took for Bush to go down to New Orleans? Just over a week. People were dying. They were stopping people at the bridge and sending them back into the city. While Bush and his cronies were sat in the White House going, what's happened in New Orleans? Well, the levees broke. Why did the levees break? Oh, break. Said because they weren't built high enough. Why weren't they built high enough? Because we ran out of money. Why did we run out of money? Because the economy wasn't doing very well. Why? You can go back searching for the cause all the way to the Big Bang if you want. If people are in trouble, solve the problem. Solve the problem for people at home, solve the problem for people at work. You can have an inquest afterwards if you want. And it's sometimes, for customers like you, that's really important, I think. In one place, I was looking at a machine, it was in the construction industry, £400,000 of machine, and it was sat there for a month on jacks, no wheels on, searching for a cause. Who's to blame? Who's to blame for these tyres failing early? Is it Michelin? Who is it to blame? Who's going to pay for it and all this? The guy had 15 of these machines. He spent a lot of money with them. Just put some tyres on it and worry about it afterwards. Look after people in trouble. Solve problems rather than look for the cause. Wasting energy. Cool. I'm not going to overrun that. We're not going to go into extra time. I think I've got one more slide. There's my one. I told you there's somebody younger than you. This is William, bless him. It was 30 degrees when that photograph was taken in our house. And he put his sunglasses on, because he likes them sunglasses, but he insisted on going out in his wellies. I said, why are you going out in your wellies, William? He says, I call him Bob. Why are you going out in your wellies, Bob? Grandad, you're always silly, he says. It might rain. Cool, bless him.